You're listening to One of a Kind Milwaukee, a podcast. I'm Angela, your host. Welcome. So I know it has been a minute since there's been a podcast. I apologize. If you saw my most recent reel, there may have been one since, but much longer reel. I believe it was close to 9 minutes on Instagram or Facebook. It was meant to be something totally different. And then in true Angela style, I rambled. And it kind of turned into a mini podcast episode that I just decided to leave on social media and not actually actively post since I didn't have mics on or anything like that. Because like I said, it was not intended to be what it turned into. Ultimately, I kind of just explained how the Midwest, I'm going to categorize it as I feel like it's probably a Midwest summer issue, but definitely a Milwaukee issue where we try to jam pack so much into our summers. Mix of being off, right? If you got kiddos, for summertime break, right? That concept. And then just the weather, right? We actually finally have good weather, so let's do everything while we have good weather. Between events, family things, things with friends, even work, right? Trying to do stuff nice outside on the weekends, picnics, whatever it may be. So it's just been a lot of stuff. If you follow, I can never stress enough. If you are someone that partakes in social media, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, because they are linked, you're going to get more content that way because while it's not everyday posting, sometimes it is. It's definitely a couple times a week posting, whether sharing events that are coming up. Maybe I can't personally do, but I think are pretty neat and want to make sure you hear about. Or maybe it's been, someone that we've previously partnered with or collabed with in the past and want to give a little shout out, in a thank you of, past or future collaborations and be like, hey, check them out. Sort of thing. So, but anywho, this episode here is, unfortunately, I feel so horrible. I've had it in my drafts and I just haven't had a chance to get it out there. So I'm going to stop yammering and let the interview take place and then do my little wrap up after since it has been so long since I've had a formal episode. And we'll touch base a little bit after this interview. This interview is with PowerCycle. Check them out. They're in Wauwatosa. And it's a really super fun workout. If you haven't tried it, try it. Go try it. Like, seriously. I had never done anything like that before because I didn't think I could, honestly. And whatever level you're at, you can do it. And it's a lot of fun, especially if you like a good like club vibe, like good music and stuff. It keeps you going. So let's take a listen to this interview. Start by telling us a bit about the history of PowerCycle and how it started.
Yeah. So as I kind of explained to you earlier, I used to enjoy running quite a bit. From that, I tried cycling. My love for cycling, kind of quickly eclipsed my love for running and started taking cycling classes. I think right about that time, we started, looking in the area for different gyms and checking out those as well. And we first started at one of the local gyms around here, tried them, became members, and then started, traveling a little bit. And as we traveled, we would check out some different gyms or different cycling studios, and we realized there are a lot of elements and things that we loved about cycling, specific cycling studios and cycling itself, and certain things we didn't like. So we started exploring, what actually is around Milwaukee besides, just the few that we had checked out and known. Since we didn't find anything, and I was a health enthusiast myself, or at least kind of into fitness, at the time I had just finished pharmacy school, and my partner, who had just finished PA school, we were just kind of looking for something to sink our teeth into besides sort of the professional career. She was already working at the time, and I wasn't, so I knew that I would have a little flexibility with what I could do. From there, we basically decided to try to open up our own studio. This was in about 2015. 2015, 2016, when the idea first came. We sought funding out, went through all that stuff, and found the space here, which was a long time coming because there was multiple renovations, multiple kind of hiccups along the way. Nonetheless, got it built out. This was in 2017. We realized quickly that we didn't ask for enough money after we had already received our loan. Once we were totally new to this.
Yeah.
Once we had done that, so coming from a background of chemistry and pharmacy, I quickly found myself sort of doing a lot of construction projects. And when you do something like this, you can't just build it yourself. It has to be certified. It has to go through all the proper channels and has to be checked out by the city and everything. Luckily, the gentleman next door, 9 Round, his father-in-law was helping him build it out. He was a general contractor. And just one day when we were walking through our space, we saw him, met him. I asked him if he would show me how to build or whatever, and he went so far as to say he would step in, be our general contractor. So he showed me how to do everything in here, and I basically did everything. I hung the drywall, we painted, we laid the floors, we did just about everything that we could do that a trade wasn't required for. So we started that. That was in 2017 in the summer. And then quickly, a year later, we actually opened up another studio in Shorewood. So we did well right out of the gate. We enjoyed it. Things were going well. We opened up another studio in Shorewood that opened in December of 2018. So almost, really 2019. And then, long story short, along the trajectory of that, COVID kind of pushed that studio away, but this one's still holding strong. Okay. And it was started by Kayla and myself. We were dating for a long time before that. We had met through my sisters, through some mutual friends, and went to school at the same time, not together, but kind of went through our professional graduate programs at the same time. So we had a lot of common interests, and then, ultimately the cycling studio was something we started together, and we're still together today. I'm happy to report. So, yeah. That's kind of what landed us here, and that's where we're at.
Very nice. So what overall inspired the fitness studio to happen here in Tosa?
For Tosa itself, it was we were living here, and it felt so central to sort of everything that we we're doing around the city. My partner, she was working in different emergency rooms, so for her it was a nice central location. Mm-hmm. For me, I was taking some classes still for a master's program just across the street from Frager at MCW at the Innovation Campus there. So I was doing some schoolwork, some classwork there, and again, I don't know, it was just like a vibrant young community, and we knew we just wanted to be a part of this. Like I said, we were already living here. So it wasn't even, for us at the time, it's funny, but it wasn't even really a question. It felt like the place we wanted to go. Yeah.
It's a nice spot.
Plus you can
grab a coffee after.
Yeah, it really worked out with Stone Creek by us.
Yeah. Kind of explained a little bit, but what really sets PowerCycle apart from other fitness studios in the area?
PowerCycle from other fitness studios in the area, I would just say, so obviously cycling, there aren't a whole lot of other cycling studios in the area, so that in itself is different. But I would say, we've got the Kaiser bikes, which even other studios don't have. In my opinion, they're nice bikes, or the nicer bikes. Beyond that, we also, we have great instructors, very talented instructors who make every class unique. It's a unique playlist. So it's not coming from some outside source where they're telling, you what you need to do today, what you need to play today. It comes right from the instructor themselves. They plan out every single song, every single set. So it's, I would say, really personal. And it, with those killer playlists, it's also kind of that club level energy where the music gets low, the lights get low, the music gets loud, we kind of dim the lights, do a little bit of that. And I would just say it's kind of the energy in the room. I can't speak for all the other local offerings, but I do know that when you go into the cycling studio at PowerCycle, when it's full and everyone's working hard and you got that good music going, there's nothing like it.
Can you describe the different types of classes that you offer here? Because you offer additional classes, not just the cycle.
Yep, exactly. So we do the cycling classes, and within that we do some different themes. But beyond the cycling, we do strength classes. In the strength offerings currently we have a few different strength classes of different lengths. So we've got some 45 minutes, some 55-minute, and then some oftentimes 30-minute classes. And those just sort of vary within the nature of what we do in the classes themselves. Some classes will do like a boot camp style where it's barbell with weights. Sometimes we'll do body weight, but it's usually full body or total body training. And sometimes we will do that, but we'll do it all to the beat of the music. So it won't always be just, we're going to do X amount of sets, X amount of reps. We go for the whole length of the song, and we do just kind of variable movements with the music.
Okay.
And it's all, again, kind of like cycling, it's all timed out. Beyond the strength class and the cycling classes, we also have a bar class, power bar is what we call it. But it's similar to a bar class, obviously with some limited offerings based on what we have in this room. But we also, that same instructor offers a Pilates class. We call it Power Pilates, and it's more of just like a mat Pilates class.
Okay.
And I would say, even though it's lower intensity, it doesn't really feel like it. It's still pretty challenging.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely. What can a first-time visitor expect when they come to attend a class here at PowerCycle?
A first-time visitor, I would say you can expect to kind of walk into PowerCycle, feel welcomed, hopefully right off the gate. You can, expect to be greeted as you walk in. You'll be handed a pair of cycling shoes if you want them. You'll be given a locker for free, of course. We have showers here. We have a couple restrooms here, so if you need to change, stuff like that, you'll always have the chance to do that. You'll be given thorough instruction on where your bike's going to be, who your instructor is. You'll be introduced to your instructor. And then, usually your instructor will come once you get set up, get your shoes on, escort you to your bike or help you on your bike, and then help you get set up, explain not only the bike monitor and some of the elements of class, but also, try to ease any questions you might have, answer anything you might have. I would also say, they obviously try to do the very thorough bike setup as well. So, making sure that you're comfortable on your bike, not just kind of throwing you in the room and turning you loose. So I would say, a first-time rider hopefully feels welcome, but also feels very prepared for the class ahead.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's nice that you have, space for stuff to go, the showers. That was like a nice surprise. Like if you gotta run to work or run
I think it especially helps
after,
people at the medical college, like those early morning workers that are, something you got a date at night or whatever it is.
Right.
People, it comes in handy when you need it. And I think, for some of the early morning classes, especially when you can just kind of get into PowerCycle, get your class and go straight off to work, it's very convenient.
Yeah. How do you ensure your classes cater to all fitness levels?
I would say the way we cater to all fitness levels, we've got obviously different class styles, but beyond that, our instructors are great at making you hopefully feel comfortable, allowing you to sort of feel prepared, but also explaining that there's a lot of modifications you can make. So you can modify while you're on the bike, the movements themselves. You can choose to do your own version of it, not do it at all, or a modified version of it while you're in the saddle, so you don't have to come out of the saddle, do certain things like that. And it's the same with weights. You don't have to use heavier weights, you can use lighter weights, you don't have to use weight, you can use body weight, things like that. And then I'd say our instructors are also really good at spotting like newcomers and providing assistance without making you feel singled out. I'd say sometimes that's sort of intimidating for people. So I would say, probably those three main things are the number one ways I feel like it stands out to me that we would cater to all fitness levels. And I'd say, I'm at least really open, and I encourage all of our instructors to be open with, people performing whatever modifications they want. So I think I reminded you at the beginning of class, I always tell the riders, like, you're always in charge. You don't have to necessarily listen to anything I say. You can do what feels best for your body.
Right. Yeah.
And there's no shame in that.
Yeah, that inner challenge of like, okay, do I do it? Don't
Yeah.
I can do this, or this is a little too hard, having to sit back on like one of the
I think right up front too, like giving people the permission to like not follow it verbatim or not follow it really at all is sometimes a little freeing in itself. It sort of removes a little bit of that that weight on your shoulder or that intimidation factor. And our instructors, always encourage that. And I think as the rider, hopefully you start with that a little less pressure and you see soon that you're, able to try it, and you find quickly that you're, doing all those things that at one point, maybe you thought were hard or difficult to do.
Yeah. What would you say are the benefits of cycling?
Oh, benefits of cycling. Well, I would say several benefits. So, obviously the physical benefits. We talked earlier, it's low impact cycling or low impact exercise, high intensity. So it's, whereas like running outside or doing exercises where your, body parts are hitting the concrete or your joints are taking a lot of that impact. It doesn't happen so much in cycling. So I would say, like, it provides a high quality workout with minimal wear and tear sort of on the other, aspects or parts of the body. The other thing, it seems like it's mostly just your legs. Cycling is really it's a total body workout, especially if you're coming in and out of the saddle. I mean, oftentimes you're using your arms to, hang on.
Yeah.
But you're using a lot of your posture, a lot of your core to sort of maintain, that neutral control over the bike, especially then when you start adding choreography, not only doing some of those movements, but also doing them with control, maintaining proper form throughout. Obviously, it requires a lot more strength than just your legs. So I would say that, and beyond that, I'd say that, you're going to find cycling or PowerCycle, you're going to find, I'd say, more of a community in something like, setting like that. It seems like, all the riders in the room, it's always a lot of camaraderie. I've, never seen any bad blood live, and it seems like a lot more friends or, companions are made through just riding next to each other than I would have ever imagined, or sometimes in other fitness aspects. But yeah, it's kind of it's a good way to sort of immerse yourself with a lot of other people, but without having to actually get, involved.
Yeah,
so to
that's
speak.
right. Yeah. How does this differ for someone who may have only like ridden a bike versus like a stationary bike or like a Peloton? Because I would have to say it's different. Because like obviously like been on a bike before, and I've done the Peloton a few times now, but it is a very different ride. I'd say.
So I would say yes. So as far as like the ride, on one of our bikes versus riding at home or just riding sort of by yourself is really like the group energy, right? It's you've got all these people around you, you can feel them, you've got an instructor standing in front of you, motivating you, trying to get everyone to do, the same sort of thing. Obviously that loud music is driving you as well. So there was that. I would say it's a lot more fun in my opinion. It's more challenging in my opinion to sort of sit alone or isolated in your basement or by yourself just on a studio or a gym bike somewhere, and try to work out as hard as you could when you're in one of these rooms with a class designed to push you at certain moments with certain music you're going to the beat. And also I would say, a little bit beyond that, you stay way more accountable. So like when you're at home, you're on a Peloton, it's easy to just like pause and go do your dishes, or pause when your wife, husband, whatever comes home, your children come home, someone comes in the room, whatever it might be. And there's a lot more reason to get out your phone and check your phone. Like it's almost inevitable, it seems like. And I've played that game and I've tried that plenty of times. I would say here you're a lot more accountable. You sign up, we have a cancellation fee. It's a certain amount of hours, it's a fair amount of time, but when you sign up and those mornings or nights where you're like, I just don't want to do this for whatever reason, it forces you to get your butt in there, and I don't think most people are usually regretful of that. I think they're happy that something forced them to do what they initially said they would, so it made them keep their commitment, so to speak.
That's fair. I will do that all the time where I'm like, I really don't want to go for a run right now. I really don't want to do this right now. And then you do it.
Yep.
And then you feel so much better after,
right?
After
it's still always your choice, right? But you're kind of making you're making the choice. It's like you're in a way you're making a choice to keep yourself accountable because you know that some of those things exist.
Yeah.
The cancellation fee, whatever. So it's like mornings where it's raining, and if I just had to roll out of bed and go down in my cold basement and hop on my Peloton before work or whatever it is, I can tell you there's a lot more mornings where I would skip that. If I, whereas I know I'm gonna have to be at this place, there's someone waiting for me, gonna call my name out or whatever it is, and show up and, be there.
Yeah. You play some fun soundtracks in the classes, and I saw that sometimes there's some special theme nights as well. What's your personal favorite artist or theme for a good class?
Oh boy. I'd say my personal favorite is probably, as far as a general theme for class, more EDM, but I prefer remix songs, so not something I like popular songs that you would hear on the radio, but remixed to a twist that feels new for writers that might listen to the radio and they're like, not this song again.
Yeah.
How about like a unique twist? So those personally are my favorite. Hip hop Saturdays we do here. I teach that class usually on Saturdays. That's a popular class, but also one I enjoy. Hip hop's great music, so it's always fun. It seems like it drives a lot of energy in the room. I'd say for writers in general here, a lot of current pop artists, Taylor Swift, obviously, very popular, Beyonce, Bad Bunny's, One Direction, a lot of those rides seem to be very popular for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably my personal favorite is a little bit more reserved for hip hop and EDM music.
Okay, nice. Thank you so much again for PowerCycle for hosting myself and my friend. We had a blast. Like I said, I really like the classes. The choreography is fun. You can really get into it. Or if it's like hard for you to do at first, like it's okay if you aren't vibing with the choreography and just focus on the legs. Like that's okay. I like that there's some arm work built into it too. That's a lot of fun. And I think just finding that's another reason why I actually haven't had an episode in a little bit is finding a physical outlet, is so important. And really where the Fit Mix series kind of came from, I've brought it up over the past year. It's been a little over a year now that I've really been trying to focus on my personal health and everything. And, trying different workouts and weight loss, like personally with weight loss, along that. I haven't dove too much into that on here, but that's been a part of it. And but I need something that I'm gonna thoroughly enjoy to, keep going at it. And I like the loud music. I like that it's like dimmer in there so people like can't see me working out necessarily, kind of thing. Um, and it's just a lot of fun. I also enjoy the community that PowerCycle has built with the walking club and the book club. I am in the book club chat. I have yet to formally do the book club because, like, again, something I've been focusing more on is reading, which I'm so happy I'm back on like a really good like reading flow. I used to read like a crazy person, like a book a week. That's not saying like you're crazy if you read like that. I'm just saying like I used to be able to just like go through books, and life just gets a hold of you and you just like, and then I struggle. And I also have narcolepsy, which can make it a little bit harder to make your way through a book sometimes, especially if the plot like slows down a little bit. That narcolepsy just kicks in uh, really hard. So I have to sometimes put books down a little bit more than the average bear. So I have found some really good books lately that have got me on a real good kick path. So while I haven't formally done any of the book club ones for PowerCycle, I enjoy that they have that because you don't even need to be a formal like member of PowerCycle to be a part of the book club, which I think is really nice that they have just it as an open community space. Part of not formally doing the book club yet has been because like while they do not pressure you to feel that you have to finish the book, I am like the, teacher's pet in the terms of like I'm given an assignment, I feel like I need to complete it. So, and I don't know that I'm always gonna jive with a book necessarily. So if I see a book that like I'm really like, ooh, that's on my like TBR, is that what it is? Yeah, to be read TBR list or shelf or whatever, then I'll definitely give it a go. Fun fact, I used to actually be in charge. I organized a book club pre-pandemic. It lasted a little bit throughout it too. It was called Brunch and Books, and it was an excuse to go to brunch to talk about the book. It lasted for a good little bit. Good little bitsies there. But anywho, so been really into reading. That has been consuming some time. I'm not gonna lie, I've been a little selfish. And I have read like 4 books, almost 5, very close to 5 in like a month, which that speed of reading has not happened in a very long time. Checked out the Well-Read Damsel in Tosa, or the romance readers out there. Checked out the new event. Books and Beers in the downtown Pfizer Beer Garden. There's 2 more events for sure coming up, and I believe they're doing other events in other areas or different themes and things. So it's a newer program. So I'll make sure to link that and those details. I think the next one coming up is kids kids themed book vendors and kids themed Milwaukee vendors. And then just that personal fitness side, have been really, again, selfishly focusing on that. Gotten the paddleboard out several times already this year, a little later than planned, but got it out there and got the Waukesha Parks County Parks Pass, because there are quite a few beaches in the Parks Pass, and then also the Fox River Park is really, really nice. Went there last weekend. It has a very nice assisted kayak drop thingamabobber to get into the water, which is still useful with a paddleboard, even with the fins. You just gotta adjust slightly, but to where you don't have to get wet at all, which is very nice, to where I think the season can actually last longer because of that, not having to get wet aspect. So that will be a goal. And so just spending time like out on the water doing that, and doing a good like 2+ mile. My goal for my next paddle is to go over 3 miles, because it's so close to 3 miles with the last one. Some more family time that isn't necessarily like doing things like at places, just like at the family house. So that's why it's been a little bit more quiet on the episode front, but episodes are on their way, content is on their way, a little bit stronger, and very excited for what's just to keep coming. But I think that a good flow is expected, and while maybe I didn't meet my goal for June for episodes, it's okay. We win some, we lose some, and we just gotta get through, keep on keeping on. I don't know. I'm also working on the next Girls Weekend episode too, so I've got a few prospects up in the air with that. And everything, and that's kind of exciting. But something I was talking about, to go back to kind of that crazy concept of Midwest Milwaukee like summers, is typically I take my calendar, which I'm looking at on the wall over there, and I plan my summer out like a crazy like mofo. Like I typically in February already have everything through August figured out, right? And I didn't do that this year. I had my normal 12-month wall calendar, and I was gonna do my normal. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna like put like the things I know for sure, for sure, a family, birthday, and we're gonna State Fair. You can find me the first weekend, Wisconsin Products Pavilion. Go cheese. Say hello. I'll be working the morning shift. Um, and then, like stuff like that, right? Like bare minimum. But then I really left like my weekends empty, which I haven't done, honestly, probably since high school. I'm not kidding you. And, thanks to that, thanks to not obsessively scheduling myself for the summer, I penciled some things in where I was like, okay, I know like this week is Summerfest. I know this week is like typically this festival. As I saw some things taking place, I'm like, okay, like this happens around this time. This happens at, this is Bastille Day time. This is Frida Fest time. Like things that I know are annual kind of events. And then as I more so was like, okay, maybe this is a more secure plan, would mark them in, but closer to like, we're talking only a month out or like 2 weeks out. Or normally, like I said, February, I would have my whole entire summer figured out. and then I wouldn't be able to do more spur of the moment things. Like, I normally would probably not have been able to participate in the Bold fashion show, which was an amazing, absolutely amazing experience. Okay. I put myself out there into something, honestly, I normally never would have done, especially by myself. Like, I like to think of myself as a very independent person, extremely independent. But like to drive out to Green Bay, to do something with like nobody I truly really know. Like, yes, I met Amanda, the amazing person behind that fashion show, right? I met her once at a women's leadership conference, and she was great. Like, we talked, we connected. Like, it wasn't just like a brief chit chat. Like, we had a great conversation, and then, you know, followed each other on social media and things like that. Um and then that's how I found out about the fashion show. But it's not like I am like talking to her daily or even talking to her every couple of weeks or months, or, you know, it was just like, you know what, like, she's making moves and this is amazing. I want to support her in that. And I'm going to put myself out there and like do this thing. And I did the thing. I met some other really amazing people who were also putting themselves outside their comfort zone. And we did some bold crap. Like, we did some bullshit. We were bold. We were bold. We did bold things. Okay? I even tattooed it on my thigh. Okay? um, so it was just great, you know, and I'm actually gonna be in another event with that. So July 19th, they had reached out and they want the fashion from the fashion show showcased at the Art Fest in Green Bay. I believe 1 o'clock will be the show. Be a little different. We were told they're gonna, so like, I'm not sure that's as true fashion show style. It's more interactive fashion show where the artists will get to explain the creative process behind the pieces and everything. So super cool, super neat. I'm free because I didn't Angela style, Capricorn style schedule my summer. So I think that that's super neat. Anywho, just, you know, trying different things, trying all the things, as I like to say, and just getting out there, you know, but be selfish. Take the time to read a book, take the time to go to a fitness class, or just sit in your backyard and look at the birds. You know who I'm talking to. um, you know, maybe it's, I don't know. It's an ever evolving notion of self. Is that what how I want to phrase that? I feel like it's like it's a little stressful. I'm not gonna lie, not having myself fully planned, because I do thrive on being fully planned out. But it's okay. And I've been making do, and then I'm like, well, you know what? Nothing ended up getting planned today. Cool beans. You can sit in the backyard with the dogs and finish that book. Or, you know, now you get to go 2 days out on the paddleboard and knock out that summer goal to paddleboard at least 3 times a month, you know, which is like so little. But you know what I'm saying, you know, there is only so much time on the like, can we please have 48-hour days? Okay. But anyways, that is, in all honesty, the extent of this episode, to not keep a rambling. So very excited for the next episode because you're gonna get 2 episodes this week. So until next time.